Hey everybody, how you guys doing? We have another Heroes of the Storm match here on the channel today, and this is actually a fun one. This is a game on Dragon Shire with Gamers2 going up against EES in the final of the ZOTAC Cup. And that was a pretty cool one. This is the first map between the two teams on Dragon Shire, as already mentioned, and Gamers2 are of course a well-established team in the top 3 of Europe. EES, on the other hand, you might have heard of a few of the players, but it's not really the teams that really rings the bell and has a big name to it just yet. But with those guys, we are suddenly having Gamers2 going up against somebody that they don't really know. They know a few of the players, but they don't really know how they interact with each other. They don't really know what kind of strategies they play, and that can always be pretty dangerous. And it always makes for really nice games, and especially in the final, you know that EES has done something right. I mean, if not for that, they wouldn't have reached the finals here. So get your popcorn ready, because this is a pretty entertaining game. I really liked it a lot. So guys, let's jump in on our first game here on Dragon Shire between EES and Gamers2. Welcome everybody to another Heroes of the Storm game here on KhaldorTV, and well, we have the first map of the ZOTAC Cup final between Gamers2 and EES, also known as the Eastern European Men's School. Yeah, I didn't come up with that nickname myself, I wish, but yeah, these guys are playing together under that name in the ZOTAC Cup, and well, they've been doing pretty well, being here in the finals now, so let's have a look at the teams and the compositions. Gamers2 is starting here in Dragon Shire, the first map of the best of 3 series, to the left side with ADRD on Sergeant Hammer. We have Leo from Korea on Malfurion, Shihu on Chen, Nika on Sylvanas, and Yube on Vala. To the right side of the map, as you can see, we have Tyrande, played by Tomze in this case, Fana on the Lost Vikings, Conti on Uther, Nasa on Jaina, and Lego My Ego is playing Stitches here. The game has already started. A good hook by Lego. Look at that, really well done here. Sylvanas was trying to get away with the Haunting Wave, and he just said, nope, you come back, and yeah. Also, Stitches needs some love, so he's desperately trying to look for a girl, and he has a hook. I mean, Brightwing is always looking for friends, doesn't find any, but Stitches at least can hook them in, and he's trying it again, but Malfurion doesn't like him, and so he says, like, nope, dodges that like a panther. And then Stitches is all alone again. But he has some friends to play with. Conti in this case and Tomze are of course his best buddies. If you are running a Stitches and you have a Tyrande and an Uther in your composition, then you always have a really nice follow-up for the hook. You can start to lock those targets down, apply the Hunter's Mark, and then burst them away, and that's where Nasa and his Jaina comes into play. So what we're seeing here for EES is pretty much what you expect from a Stitches composition. A composition that tries to hook a target in and really bursts it down thanks to a Hunter's Mark, a stun combination from Uther Tyrande, and then all that burst in DPS from Jaina. Besides that, we have of course the Lost Vikings too, a great soaking tool on the maps, and so far until the next patch also pretty amazing just in general. Olaf actually, just as I'm saying it, at the top lane taken out here. Shihu is going up against Fana here, but the main damage that is definitely happening down here at the bot lane. Nice Blizzard, good hook, and down goes Jaina. Well played by EES here. Definitely a team that you haven't heard of too much, but you've probably seen a few of the players around, so that's one of the things to just keep in mind. Gamers2, I don't really think that I need to introduce the Polish team here any further. They are one of the top 3 teams in Europe, and they are doing exceptionally well. One of the best teams, and they have been with us for a long time. They've been known as Team Paper in the beginning, then they switched to 3D Max, and now they've been with Gamers2 for a long time, and yeah, it's actually pretty cool to see. It's just such a consistent team in the scene. Once again, the hook, Lego My Ego, like ES is doing really well, and I mean, I've been talking about Gamers2 a bit, but these boys, at least in the beginning of the match, have been doing quite some work, pretty respectable. Up at the top lane, Shihu is now finally taking that shrine and making sure that that threat in the mid lane with the Dragonite is not a reality any longer against Gamers2. The Polish team in terms of builds here, running a double Regeneration Master, one on Sergeant Hammer and the other one on Chen. On Chen you normally expect it, of course, but seeing it also on the Sergeant is something that doesn't happen all too often. But ADRD is one of the best tank players that we're currently seeing in Europe, and this guy definitely knows what he's doing. Usually he is also using some other talents here, going for range for example, but in this case now it's the Regeneration Master. Stitches with another attempt for hook. I really like it that these guys are so reliable with their like compositions right now. Every single time you see that hook, Tyrande is following it up with a stun immediately. Couple of prediction hooks that we've seen so far missing, but besides that, Stitches is doing a pretty good job, and Conti and Tomze are always there for another stun, and they're trying it again. Going for you with this time. Good vault, waiting for a long time until that hook finally is thrown, and then they rush away. But the root down at the bot lane could harm Jaina here. ADRD is saving his ass for a second with pushing Tomsy away. But Balog up at the top lane going down. One of the Vikings still alive for the soaking, and that's of course all that you need. Right now, one of the things that we should probably talk about in regards to the builds is that Vala in this case is running a right-click build with Manticore on level 4 and level 1 Rancor. Besides that, we're having also the scouting drone on the side of Malfurion, which is pretty important if you consider his mana pool, because that extra Conjurer's Pursuit regeneration is really adding up over the course of the game. But with the scouting drone, you will have the vision, especially between the two lanes, so that you know exactly what you're running into. There's a lot of bushes, as you can see, everywhere, and with that happening, like, there could also be one of those party bushes where everybody's just waiting for you to make an appearance and then lock you down. Whoa, that was a great hook, and Leo in trouble gets away. Though was a close call here, and that was very well done by EES. Again, the team in red is doing a great job, and oh my god, Conti moves in from the top and takes Malfurion down after all. Leo thought he was safe already, but he did not account for Uther in this case. Level 7 for both of the teams now. And we're seeing the unstable poison as the trade on Sylvana, so going more for the pushing power than the individual damage. That's what Vala is going to be happening, because we are having her with a searing attack. Nice dodge again. Yu is playing Vala really nicely here. I mean, I like that a lot. For ES, on the other hand, let's look at the talents just a bit. We're having on the side of Tyrande, in this case now a healing ward. Oftentimes you see the protective shield taken these days over the healing ward. Blizzard is going to change the healing ward again a bit in the next patch. They're really experimenting a lot with that. And we're having, in terms of like how much build goes, we're having a lingering chill and frostbitten taken. So not the deep chill, but actually the lingering chill, which is increasing the duration a bit longer. I kind of like that too. So we're having, besides that, a Venom taken, which is an important talent here. Oftentimes you will see the Arcane Intellect on Jaina, or even the Snowstorm if you want to increase the radius on your Blizzard, but in this case it is Envenom, which is also a possible talent on her, and it's a very aggressive one at that. Stitches, of course, is going for the sustain build that you probably expected already looking at the lineup, since he's the only tank in the team, going for Chew Your Food, Amplified Healing, and then also Tenderizer to just keep the target a bit closer to him once that the hook was successfully thrown out. The game so far actually pretty nice. I mean, we have both teams at roughly the same experience, 2 kills against 1, and EES, they're really doing some work. One of the reasons why I actually chose this replay is that I want to show you guys just a few more teams, a few more players that you might have not seen yet, just because we are... Oh, there comes the lockdown against Nikan again! A great hook by Lego, and to follow up the rotation from the mid lane as Conti moves down. Yeah, but as I was saying, like, we always see, of course, a lot of matches with Gamers2, Team Liquid and the other teams, and it's always fun to see them, but just to broaden your horizon a bit, if you're not able to just watch every single tournament out there, then I wanted to give you an opportunity to maybe, like, get to know a few other players that are currently out there trying to make some waves, and also trying, of course, to make their way into the Heroes of the Storm Pro scene. Fana at the top lane, we have disregarded him so far. He is soaking that up, and thanks to him getting that shrine and keeping it against Chihu, we have now in the mid lane Conti on the Dragon. They have level 10 also a bit faster than their opponent with the Starfall, with the Longbow. We're seeing here in this case Putrid Vial and Stitches. Gorge, of course, something that you don't see all that often anymore since Blizzard changed it a lot. Balog, every now and then one of the Vikings is dying at the top lane, but that's really not too much of a deal as long as you soak on the other lanes and you make sure that the Vikings are really coming to play. Vikings are played, by the way, very differently in competitive play if you compare it to your usual solo or duo queue, where you try to split them up right from the beginning. In most of the pro games, the most that you will see is a dual split at the beginning of the match, but oftentimes the Vikings are being kept together, and then once the objectives appear on the map, so you're starting to split 1 or 2 of them off. It's just that teams got so good at sniping individual Vikings if you keep them on the lane and try to go for a quad push somewhere, that it's not really worth it anymore. So in this case, the playstyle is a bit different. Just in case you were wondering why exactly Fan is keeping all his Vikings together at the top lane. If you're thinking about maps like Cursed Hollow, for example, you will oftentimes see that the Vikings are being split off 1 or 2 once that the objective appears on the map and the teams are starting to fight for the tribute. But in this case, there's not really too much to do except for like isolating a Viking every now and then to go to the shrine and take that. So Fana is keeping them together up at the top. The level 10s are now ready as well. First Dragonite has done a bit of damage, but here comes a nice Blizzard once again. Leo with Tranquility, and down goes Jaina. Gamers2 with a counter kill here. We're having the Divine Shield on Uther, very popular talent these days. And when we're looking at the talents that we're seeing for Gamers2, it is Strafe on Juve's Vala. We're having the Wailing Arrow together with the Wandering Keg, Tranquility, and Napalm, of course, on ADRD's tank. ADRD is all about the tanks these days. I mean, he is the brain of Gamers2, in case that you didn't know. He's the guy who does the drafts, he's the guy who comes up with the strategies and the compositions. So there's a lot of pressure on him in just in general. And he's doing extremely well with that, as you can tell by their ranking on Stormcraft.com. I mean, the team ranking there is extremely good for them. And they've been doing really quite some work, and ADRD is one of the main reasons behind all of this. The team is working just so well, and we are going to find out if they can win this one, because so far EES has given them quite the run for the money. Oh, the kill against Balog there again. Shihu on his Panda is just like crazy. They're going for another kill, but no, Fana is using his ult. He said like, alright boys, if you're going for a strafe here, then I might as well use my ult to keep my Vikings alive. And they still are, so he can move in, and he gets some assistance too. Conti and Asher are moving in already, trying to push them back here. We have Nika and Shihu still in position, and down to the bot lane there's a small little fight between Tomzi, ADRD and Malfurion, who apparently had enough of that and already started to move away up to the top. So, pretty actually fast-paced game that we're seeing so far. Not too many kills, but like constant action on the map. Overflowing Light now coming into play for Tyrande, and with that she has a very nice healing possibility here too. Shrink Ray on Uther. Uther, of course, since the last patch doesn't have Sprint any longer on level 13, which is also one of the reasons why we're seeing Divine Shield that often, since you can't just simply run into your opponent anymore and just simply like take him down with a quick team stun. Great hook here against Malfurion, really well played. Of course, catching him out of position like this was the key moment in the first place. Had very little chance of escaping after that, even with the ice block that he skilled there. It just helps you if you have the rest of the team with you, and here that was not the case. It's interesting to still see the Frost Shot on the side of Vala with a right-click build. Oftentimes when you're going for Frost Shot on 13, then you would expect to at least skill Composite Arrow on level 1 for the extra range, but of course this is an auto-attack build that we're seeing on Vala, and therefore Frost Shot is just something that keeps you, it allows you to get away from your opponents faster. They felt they didn't need the extra damage, and now the Giant Killer. And behind all of this, I mean, suddenly we have the second Dragonite in the game, and that is suddenly game number, Dragonite number 2 for Team EES. They are doing really well here, but at the same time, Gamers2 is keeping the experience close. They are actually ahead at this point, just slightly, but still, it's kind of amazing that they are still able to do that. We have still all of the structures on the board, and now Conti is trying to change that, of course. Going straight for that fort in the mid lane and trying to take that down. Nice hook against Juve, but an immediate ball brings him to safety. He's trying to use his Frost Shot against Conti here, keeps that Dragonite close, and the Wandering Keg, they're trying to move somebody in. A good Divine Shield against Nasa. Uther reacted immediately. Tomze is in trouble though and goes down on his Tyrande. Conti is killed too. Both of the potential healer supports are down, but Juve isn't making it either. No, Vala already dead. The longbow came into play, and with the jump he's trying to move away, but Fana, he is losing Vikings left and right. ADRD moves in to kill now Olaf, and Olaf is dead too. Suddenly the kills are getting wrecked in by Gamers2. They turn the Dragonite of their opponents around. Didn't even lose a fort with that. And now they're moving straight towards the right side of the map and are trying to take down a few structures themselves. In the back we have ADRD on level 13 with Giant Killer. He's going to take what on level 16? What's it going to be? Is it going to be? It is going to be Executioner. Double Executioner actually. They're running this currently with a few heroes that can provide that slow, and that's of course also where the Frost Shot comes into play again. But here we have the Executioner talent for the right click damage on Vala, and Vala is definitely getting quite a lot of points there. They're trying to contest the Siege Giants. Everybody moving in here. Wow, those Giants are really popular right now, aren't they? Oh, but Stitches is dead, but they get the counter kill. Both of the tanks are down since Chen died at 2. Leo is getting stunned, but we're having Nika with a pretty good ult. A lot of damage against the Vikings in particular, and that results in Olaf's death. But at least the Giants were won by EES, and they're trying to get they're trying to get Juve. and they get him. 80 Artie here is also pretty low, but Nika moves in with a double silence. Conti rushes away in the last second. A potential kill against Leo. The water elemental is blowing him to pieces and is trying to also hunt down Nika. But with a haunting wave, he should be able to escape. He just seems to be cooled down. Fana moves in. The wave, he jumps into the wrong direction. Oh my god, a misclick by Nika here. He sends the wave into the wrong direction, panicking here apparently, and jumps into the opponent instead over the debris here. And now they are losing not only Sylvanas, but also the camp. Double Siege Giants pushing the bot lane, and EES, they're really trying to make it happen here, taking game number 1 against Gamers2. 9 kills against 7.5, the fishing hook is there. For Jaina, what are we going to see? Are we going to see the Numbing Blast or Northern Exposure? We are seeing another Dragonite first of all, and here comes the talent with Northern Exposure. It's going immediately into it, so we're having this being used now as well. Tenacious Roots, by the way, on Malfurion. And looking at damage here, just to give you guys a bit of an idea what's going on so far. Hammer, Sergeant Hammer, she's of course taking once again the lead in the hero DPS. But we're having Vala with 31,000 on a pretty solid level 2. Thing is though that especially Chen excels here. Keep in mind that that Vala damage that we're seeing here is not a multi-shot build. This is not like where you just like go for that shotgun idea, you just like shoot the wall and something is gonna stick. No, you actually have the right-click damage against individual heroes, which makes it extremely valuable. So we have 32,000 on her part, and at the same time looking towards the red team, we're having, especially on the Vikings, a lot of damage with 39,000, but also Jaina with a 30,000 to her name is looking pretty solid here. Besides all of that, we're having that Dragonite still starting to do a bit of damage, but I have to say one thing, like, as well as EES has been doing with those Dragonites, capturing them throughout the game, they haven't really done too much damage with them. Like, they had 3 Dragonites already, and they only killed 1 fort so far, so didn't really get the most out of it. Another big team fight here with Jaina going down first, but Vala following as it being a close second. The shield on Lego, he's moving away with the Putrid Bile. There is just bile everywhere, and here comes Fana with a spin to win, trying to dish out the damage. He's moving straight for Shihu, trying to block him away too. Nika is following Conti down here. Lego is not making it. Stitch is dying. 80 already was in hot pursuit the entire time, hitting the thrusters on his tank, and they are starting to move in once again. We're having a very, very nice game here. A lot of team fights right now. Both of the teams are really going for it, and I have actually no idea who's going to take this here. We have a 4th kill for each team. We have level 18 versus 18, 19 hitting soon enough for Gamers2. The Polish team winning the last fight, but still, like, this is pretty back and forth what we're seeing so far. Tomze and his boys are doing a great job here, and they are starting to move in here once again. Keep in mind that the Ragnarok and Roll is going to come in on level 20 for the Vikings. That's going to really help them a lot. They have a lot of good level 20 talents that they can choose from, and also of course mobility that especially Jaina and Tyrande could potentially benefit from. On the other side, when we're looking at a potential Nexus Frenzy or Advanced Lava Strike on Sergeant Hammer, we're talking about a lot of poking and also damage potential. Vala herself with the Nexus Frenzy and the right-click build, the auto attack damage build, is of course a beast. Like, I mean, she's strong already, but if you have Nexus Frenzy to your name when you're running with also Rancor, Manticore and Searing Attack, oh boy, can you dish out damage. Like, the hook though! These hooks, that's really the big threat. This is the one thing why against the Stitches you can never really, you can never really just relax and think, okay, we got this, because one hook can change the outcome of the game immediately. It's a constant threat against your team, and this is something that Lego is going to try to use as much as he can, and there it is! But the Kek is being used, and well done by Shihu here. That was actually really well done. Using that ult to get away there, to not get sniped, that was important, but Lego has just a few more seconds on the cooldown, and then he can use the hook again, and yeah, it's not gonna get another one in, is he? Got on level 16 the fishing hook, here come the 20s, and that is a very small timing window that they have now, but I don't think that they are going to be able to make anything happen here, at least they shouldn't. Well, actually, with ES not moving back, they're jumping in now, and the Vikings aren't even here. The disengage is on, they're trying to rush away. The stun against Shihu doesn't do too much, with him skidding relentless on level 13. Conti is low, but the kill against Vala with a great hook from Lego. Stitches coming through once again, but they're losing Uther here. They have the level 20 now on her own with a double storm shield, and they're going straight for Lego again. Gamers2 that is, but they're trying to get the kill here. They could go for the Dragonite behind all of this, and are they splitting one of the Vikings off? Not just now. The disengage is still full on. Yeah, those Siege Giants are going to take down another keep, and here comes the kill. Do they get the second one? No, they don't. Only Tyrande is down. Leo was trying to hit another quick Moonfire, didn't get that, but here comes the Dragonite in the mid lane, and I think that was actually pretty worth it for EES, because right now they have another Dragonite barreling down the mid lane, doing a lot of damage already. They have taken another fort at the top, with Fana's Vikings being split off, and that was actually pretty cool. So the only thing that they're going to lose here is one Dragonite, and that also forced Gamers2 back, so the situation for them is not as bad as you think it could be. Without the support, the Dragonite of course is not going to do too much, but I mean, they broke through the wall, they took 2 towers, they put some damage on the keep. That wasn't too bad, and up at the top they took of course their fort that I mentioned earlier. So all in all, pretty solid situation here. Ragnarok and Roll is going to be skilled pretty soon, or at least you would expect that. There were a few situations where Vikings players decided to go for different builds. In terms of heal, something that we didn't really mention, look at Tyrande. 43,000 heal. That is just amazing. That overflowing light talent is so damn good when it comes to the healing. And I have to give some credit here to Tomsy. Apparently he was really starting to hit that button the entire time, especially when level 13 hit to get those numbers in. So that is quite respectable. Vala is still at 40,000 damage. I mean, she doesn't really get too much damage in the most of the fights right now. She's under a lot of pressure. Every single time the fight starts, Nika is one of the priority targets, especially for Stitch's hook, so it's pretty difficult for him to get close. And wow, he actually decided not to go into Nexus Frenzy, but Bolt of the Storm just because of it. Because he realized, well, I'm getting hooked the entire time. I'm getting blown to pieces before the fight even starts. It's not worth it for me to go for Nexus Frenzy. I need something else. I need safety. And therefore, Bolt of the Storm it is. Same for Tyrande. Oh, 80 already. They can't get the lockdown against him. And once again, Shihu with a keg. The longboat. Not using Ragnarok and Roll, but the Fury of the Storm there. So once again, an exceptional game where they are starting to use different talents for the heroes here. But look at how much damage Malfurion suffered here. Ragnarok and Roll, or at least like Longbow, doing work. Moving back for now, but it is a 5 versus 4. Nika is getting hooked in, but blinks away with the Bolt of the Storm immediately on his Sylvanas. A lockdown against him once more, but Shihu, I mean, you can't stop him. That fat panda is out for blood, and he really wants to get the kills, and he's getting them. He's jumping in once more. And by now, Gamers2 on level 22 versus level 21. And we still have all of the keeps there. But that should change now, right? I mean, we have, of course, a few of those players coming back in just a second. But is it going to be fast enough? It's actually amazing to see that Gamers2 was able to break through both of those Divine Shields. Sorry, not Divine Shields, but the Storm Shield. The Divine Shield, the Double Heal, Shrink Ray, Benediction. Like all those sustainabilities that we're seeing. Here comes the attack against the Keep, but I don't think they can end, to be honest. Or can they? I mean, Tomsey is still there. He needs to make sure that he doesn't die. Does he still have blink? Whoa! Okay, that could have been the conclusion, ladies and gentlemen. 3 heroes going for it. Fana, well, he has his Vikings back. He doesn't have this ultimate, though. But he's trying to go for Nika, losing one of the Vikings. He's really trying to defend here, isn't he? This is going to be a super close one. The shield is already gone, and they're starting to go straight for that core. Oh, yes, Shihu kills the last one. 80 already dishes out the damage, but there's no way they can finish this. 80% on the core, really well done, but now they're moving back again, and Shihu is just saying, alright boys, let's go, and uses his Wandering Keg for the disengage. Well done. But yeah, I really thought for a second that they might be able to close it out, but of course they were lacking damage since Vala wasn't really with the team at this point. And they're just going for the Dragonite. Maybe they should have just moved back and take those shrines immediately. But in this case now they have to fight against their opponent. 79% on the core, but EES, they aren't done. They aren't done just yet, but they are in trouble since Lego and Stitches has to use Pudric Bile. 4 players in hot pursuit. Here comes Nasser with his ult on Jaina, trying to slow down the targets, and that was extremely important here. But it cost them 2 heroic abilities. They control the shrine at the top lane thanks to Conti, but they used 2 of their heroic abilities. They are now down in cooldown, and that's of course always bad news. A hook attempt, but they only get the Siege Giant here. Can't get a kill in. Level 23 against 22, by the way, just saying. I mean, we're looking at a really nice late game between the two of them. 17 kills against 13 in this game so far. Looking at the damage here, you can of course tell that again Sergeant Hammer is one of the priority picks here. 102,000 hero damage, that is pretty damn respectable. That is very, very strong. Conti is taking now the shrine at the bot lane, and I'm not so sure. Oh, we have actually also up at the top Yuva already in position on his Tiger. Yeah, hot lady on the Tiger. I'm not saying no. So Lego is currently in position here. Shihu is just waiting. He's waiting to take that shrine. He's like, yeah, well, I don't really know where they are, but I can grab that shrine in just a second. And now he's moving in immediately to take it. The rest of the team, yes, they missed that right here. But, well, we have them rotating to the top, trying to find maybe one of the targets. And if they get ADR here, he sees Conti and he's like, yep, that's not gonna happen. Thrusters away to safety. The advanced napalm strike that he took on level 20, of course, helps him so much with the poking here. And he's doing that again against Lost Vikings. I mean, look at that damage. It is insane. You hit into that direction, you're gonna hit something eventually. Oh, but that hit here! Wow! And ADRD, can they kill him? They can, and they do. They take him down, and that's the main damage dealer already gone. Juve gets a quick strafe in, but that's not gonna be enough. 1-2 of the Vikings down, but that is not gonna help you. Shihu is in trouble as well, and Lego is trying to move in. He should actually have a hook in just a second. Chen is already dead, and here comes the hook. Nika! Ah, he escapes this time. And that was well done. And guys, at 23 minutes into the game, these Dragon Knights hurt. I mean, so far, we have talked about it earlier, EES has not really gotten the most value out of the Dragon Knights. They've done some damage, yeah, of course, but they already had 4. I think 3, 4? I think it was 4 by now. So with those, they weren't really able to do too much. Gamers2 actually without a Dragon Knight just yet, but here comes the next one already. Fana this time with one of the Vikings taking the DK here, and they are starting to move in for additional damage right now. Talking about damage, 76,000 hero damage on the side of the Vikings. The Fury of the Storm talent really coming through for them and doing a lot of work, and they are trying to end the game right now. And this is not going to be an easy defense, but the Sergeant is going to be back in just 2 seconds. Ice Block already being used by Leo. They're trying to blow him up, and they get the kill against Leo. And suddenly ES is moving in. Yuva gets his full strafe off at the same time. Conti needs to shield himself with the Divine Shield, and we're having another kill against Jaina in this case. Jaina down, and wow, they're getting Tyrande too. That Dragon Knight is starting to do a lot of work. Sergeant Hammer pushing him back. Shihu is moving in now too. It's a 4-man defense they're going for it, but the core is down to 30%. He's going out of the Dragon Knight. They're trying to go for it. 20% of the core. This is so damn close. Only Fana is alive. 19%. And the last Lost Viking is about to die as Olaf to the right gets blown to pieces. 18% on the core, the defense. Oh my god. And now Gamers2 is trying to end the game. They're trying to rush over to the right side to end it, and they have a lot of time here. The Vikings are not going to be back in time for the defense, and we are seeing still 20 seconds on Uther and 20 on Tyrande. They're starting to move in here. They're starting to go for it, and this is it. Can they somehow defend again? I'm not quite sure, guys, but it doesn't really look like it does it. ADR and Yuva already there, Nika as well, and this is Gamers2 trying to turn that game around again. What a fast-paced match that we're having here. Getting the strafe off, and even with the Vikings, this is it. Using the kegs to secure the victory and push them away. And GG, ladies and gentlemen, Gamers2 take the game against EES at the ZOTAC Cup final. Yeah, a pretty fast-paced game there. Back and forth the entire time. Gamers2 dishing out damage to the core. Then suddenly they have to fear for their life as they are losing one of the Dragon Knights and nearly the core as well. So a pretty cool game here by EES. Very well played here. And I hope that you enjoyed that game too. This was the first game of the series and also the only one that was really so good that I thought, alright, I have to actually show it to you guys. The rest of the series, that was something where Gamers2 then was able to win it in the end though. So they won the best of 3 there. They won the ZOTAC Cup, but EES definitely making some waves there and bringing their name out here, especially of course the individual players. So in this case, thank you very much for tuning in, guys, today. I hope that you enjoyed the game. I definitely enjoyed casting the replay. It was a very, very fun match that we saw there, and I hope that you were entertained here and got your popcorn and everything ready. Of course, tomorrow we'll have a bit more Heroes content here. It's the last day of our current patch, so we have one more match in the ESL Major League that I want to show you then tomorrow before we head into the new patch. So guys, get ready for that. And yeah, that's it for the day. So I hope that you enjoyed the game. If you did, give it a thumbs up on YouTube. Make sure that you drop a comment in the comment section. I'm going to see you guys tomorrow with more Heroes of the Storm content. Have a great day. Bye-bye.